Hello everybody, welcome along to the JACKOCAR Cup Series here for Season 6, Round 9. It is the Belgian Grand Prix and we only have 2 races left of the regular season. Ben Shaw has his first chance to win the regular season, although that's not really what we're going to be focused on tonight. We have got 7 drivers qualified out of 10 and we have a couple of drivers into must-win situations, including the likes of Corey, so I reckon we're going to be in for a potential 8th different winner in the first 9 races. And here at Spa, anything can happen. I'm your commentator, Owen Wyatt. With me, I have got Jacko, and I'm very much looking forward to this one.
God, you sound up for it tonight, Owen, don't you?
I do a wee bit.
That was a very, very lively intro. In fact, so lively, you spoke for so long, I actually had time to get the tweet out.
You see, I remembered you complained. I remember your wee complaining rant last week, so we solved that problem.
It's been more than a week, I can assure you. But good of you to note the 7 different winners from 8 in the opening 8 rounds of the Cup Series, and that was also backed up by Kia Series. They've had 5 from 5.
Yeah.
So that is 13 from 14 across all tiers. That's most impressive. No other league can boast that. So, Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium then, it is the 6th time we've been here in 6 seasons in the Cup Series. 3 playoff races, 2 regular season races, and this is the 3rd regular season race. It is the penultimate regular season race for Season 6 as well, as we head off to Austria after this, but we have, 22 laps to look forward to. And also only 19 drivers, Owen. Connor, we assume, is asleep, so we've begun with 19.
Yeah.
Tez will be out first.
Always happens, doesn't it, where he's asleep? I'm wondering sort of how this keeps happening. But, the rest of us are very much excited for tonight. But, there always has to be a straggler somewhere. And as usual, we get into the lobby a wee bit before the drivers do, which is why we're sitting here waiting for the first one to come out. But when they do, Tees will hopefully give us a valid lap to a fast lap, because 60 DNFs this season, we're getting a bit used to it now, but again, I've got faith in him. Corey was able to get some points the other week. Tees still on 0, but and this could be his week. It's not exactly a home race, but it's about as close as he's going to get for the time being. So maybe he will have an inspired performance tonight, hopefully. Hopefully he doesn't put it in the wall. I've got my fingers crossed for him.
And do you remember last week in Bahrain, he put together a semi-decent lap around Sakir before eventually retiring later on in the race. But yeah, Tees, ties, however you want to say it, we desperately want him to do well, don't we? 6 points from however many starts it is, I can get that stat for you. 6 points from 12 races. So that's 10 DNFs, 1 disqualification, and 1 points finish. And that was only P11. Come on, Tez. Pull yourself together, man.
Oh. He must be listening to me. There's no way he's done that by accident. He's just teasing us, Jacko. It's fine. As he spins
nice play on words there. Teasing us. I like that.
I'm glad you picked on that one up. As he comes out of the pit lane onto the Spa track, and this is the longest track on the calendar. Very much looking forward to seeing how they all get on here tonight. The first race on here in the new game. A few more difficult corners now this year, thanks to how the traction is, because especially these chicanes, the traction zones were hard enough last year. I'd expect a lot of invalidations just because people can't get their foot down and maybe spin off or slide off or end up sort of just wide as Connor does join. So he's woken up late, but he is here and he will be racing later on. I don't imagine he'll be able to get into the qualifying session though now, although it would be nice if he could, as Tees heads off the track in Puon. Interestingly, did you see that stayed valid? And I know it's only an outlap, but that is something that if the drivers are watching, they'll be keeping a note of that, because that is an extra mile an hour or 2 that you may be able to carry all the way round. And that'll gain you a couple of tenths of a second, perhaps.
It sure will, and of course in the rules it does state that you can abuse track limits during qualifying. Not in the race, that is reportable and punishable. But qualifying, we've seen it actually twice where Jake O'Sullivan has been on pole, his 2 poles. He's abused track limits and taken pole both times, so that's worked for him. But anyway, Tez, hopefully, if he keeps a lap together, Owen, this should be a nice one to commentate over.
Yes, hopefully.
But I won't hold my breath.
Well, I hope I'll keep my voice tonight as he crosses the line to start and makes the plunge towards the last source hairpin. A very exciting turn one. I'm looking forward to seeing how they'll handle that one in the race. Very tricky traction zone, but Teasy short shifts on the exit. You saw that up to 4th gear. Made sure he got himself nice and straightened up as he heads in towards the Eau Rouge Radion section. How brave is he going to be? It should be easy flat out, but you always have a little bit of a hesitation when you head in there for the first time. DRS as he heads in towards the Lake Calm chicane. And we'll see the first sector time of the evening. It is a 30.1, perfectly competitive, and keeps relatively to the apex. And you can see how much he struggles on the curbs as he heads through Malmedy now. And that is going to be into the wall. Same place where Felipe Massa stuck it in the wall, practice. And Verstappen as well last year. So people, good drivers have crashed there, but unfortunately, Tees has also crashed there. I was about to say isn't a good driver, but that's not true. I realised where I was going with that one, and I had to sort of turn that one around. Let's just quickly move on from that one then, and watch Corey. See how he handles the same section, and you can see how cautious he is on the throttle as he heads to the exit of the Malmedy. And we'll just continue. We just swapped cars as we head through into one of the most interesting corners on the track, actually, because everyone takes different lines through here, and No Name, I'm pretty sure No Name does have a name now, but it's better to call it No Name. Everyone remembers No Name. Corey gets through there relatively okay. Does he exploit the track limits here at Pouhon? Not quite, but he does go right to the very edge and then towards the Fagnes chicane. This is the worst corner on the track for me. It's so tricky to get on the throttle here on the exit, and you've got to be so patient as Corey does head through, and all looking good. And in towards Stavlo, it'll be a flat out run all the way towards the bus stop chicane. And a little hesitation on the exit. I think he was worried he was going to hit the wall. And you will notice that this is not 2022 spec Spa. This is very much still the old track. But Corey isn't going to mind that too much, because he looks like he's going to get to the end of it, and it may well even be a competitive time. And he is a must-win. He's got this week and next week to try and get into the playoffs. This is a very big race for him as he crosses the line at 1 minute 43.5. How is that going to hold up, Jacko?
Well, last season, Owen, the pole time here was a 42.3 set by Casper, you may remember. So 43.5, there was chat earlier in the chat about it being a low 143 dead is what we were expecting the pole time to be, as we avoid the gap left by Connor and go straight to Risky. There he is out on track in that lovely looking car. We were joking earlier today about, not earlier today, wasn't it, earlier in the week, about Corey's girlfriend is only 5 points behind him in the standings. So he really does need to pull his finger out as we see Risky through this long and sweeping sector 3. It's a beautiful bit of track, isn't it? Probably one of the best on the game. But what can he do in his wonderful looking machine? The number 37, the man from Mansfield. Around the final corner he comes then. Sullivan Lewis up to the line. It's not going to be pole. It's a 1:44.5, a second off of Corey's time.
We got a reminder last week of what Risky could be capable of in Bahrain when he was fighting up in the podium positions. Ended up finishing second place, I believe, in the end. A wee reminder that you can come
MK
from
Bourne
nowhere. As MK Bourne wasn't watching him, but the reaction from Jacko says it all. As in that very nice looking car, he's absolutely destroyed it, and he's given it a puncture as well. So that'll be a long way back to the pits for him. Hopefully he doesn't get in the next man's way. That will be Pete Knighton as he heads up through Eau Rouge and Radion. And well, he's in the dark navy blue now. I'm interested in seeing why he's gone for these colours. But yeah, Pete going for a lot of colours that we don't expect from him these days. It's like a new man. Is he trying to just sort of fool himself into thinking he's going to be able to win a race again? He's purple through the first sector, but yeah. Oh, when are we going to see him put a car on pole this season?
Hopefully tonight, and it would be good because he is racing in memory of his granddad, who sadly passed away yesterday morning.
Okay, fair enough. I wasn't aware of that.
That's all right.
Apologies.
For you. I do wonder if the blue and the silver might be something, or colours that his granddad perhaps liked, but it would be good to see him, whether it be tonight or later in the season, at some point to have Pete back on the podium, wouldn't it? As he comes to the end of Sector 2 here, definitely pushing. You can see the back end kicking out. Where is he? Is he up on Corey's time? I don't think so. The game obviously says purple. It always does.
Yes. And
just...
where's MK Bourne? He's going to be coming up to him in a moment, isn't he, Jacko? You can see the yellow flag as he heads through Blanchimont. So if we ride on board, you will see the red machine. There it is, in the bus stop chicane. And I think he'll just about get himself to the line and hopefully not get in Pete's way. Good of MK Bourne to remember that he can finish his lap, even though he's got that much damage, as Pete goes second fastest. And yeah, we'll see if he can stay out there.
Fourth fastest.
MK Bourne only the 58 seconds off the pace, but do you know what? It's P4 for now, and if anyone behind has issues, then he will be starting higher than you would expect, despite the accident. Now, first of our Joker drivers crosses the line. Jess goes P4, 2.6 seconds though off the pace. That might not hold up for too long, and so she'll be happy she's on that Joker.
Yeah, and very quickly on MK Bourne. He actually lost it at no name, but it was good of him to remember the procedure that he still has to complete his in-lap. Otherwise he would risk a qualifying ban next week. Up next, Owen, is the current series champion. Here he is, Catchman, Jake O'Sullivan. Through no name he goes. 1 win, well, 2 wins, of course, back-to-back Saudi Arabia victories. One of them gave him that championship, the other one put him into this season's playoffs, and he hasn't done a lot since, but maybe he's going to come alive again in the Championship 5 should he make it this season.
Well, look, he's very much a second half of the season driver, isn't he, Jake? Based on last season, again, having one of the worst starts to a JACKOCAR season we've ever seen. I think Tease has probably outdone him now, but certainly for the time where he was doing it, 7 races I think it was, where he didn't manage to get any points whatsoever. He couldn't even get to the end of a race. He had a horrible time, but still came through in the second half. So there's definitely more to come from Jake. Only 13th in the championship at the moment, but will certainly, on points anyway, but will certainly be on it for the second half of the season. He will be on it tonight as well. As he comes up to the line, he goes second fastest. And we move on to a man who's got a lot of pressure on his shoulders tonight. Leroy, his brother, won on the Joker. It's Yuri's turn this week.
Yep, the second of 2 Jokers tonight, Yuri. He finished third on Tuesday night in Monaco at the Kia Series, and at the moment puts himself at P4, but we'll see more from him in the race because he will be a threat. And that is a fact.
And Ben Harrett then up next. He is a driver right on the edge of being in contention to qualify for the playoffs. He's having a superb season so far, and he is right on the edge. It'll be him and OKK really, and Jordan and Christian Attara, the likes of that, who'll all be fighting in those lower championship positions to try and scrap into the top 10. He'll be really hoping Corey, who's still in P1 at the moment, doesn't take a win tonight. All these guys who are trying to get through on points alone will be hoping for that, because they have got to make sure that there's actually spots still left for them. 8 winners as we head into Austria would be a disaster, because they have so little to actually scrap over. So Ben needs some big performances, and he's certainly shown he's capable of it as he heads through the bus stop chicane and towards the finish line. It's not going to be the fastest time. In fact, it'll be one of the lower times. He only goes P6. I think he'll be disappointed with that one.
He will. He was already a second and a half down at the exit of Sector 2. But moving from the bottom 10 to the top 10, this is OKK, who sits +1 above Ben Harrett in that race for the playoffs then, behind Jordan, behind Gareth, behind SD Mats, all of them looking for that elusive win to carry them, that ticket through to the playoffs. I've just lost my TV controller, but never mind. I need to find that. I'll let you take over.
Here comes OKK then. Silverstone will still be playing on his mind, mainly because I'll keep reminding him of it. But he is still very much in the running for the playoffs as it stands. And if he can get another few good results in the next 2 races, he may well just be the man. As he comes to the line, it's a relatively competitive time. He goes P4, and I think he'll be happy enough with that for now. As Jordan, one of his main rivals, is invalid, and he will start P20 unless anyone gets disqualified from the session, and that is a big upset for him. He will be very disappointed with that, but he's going to have a big job to do in the race. As we watch SD Mats heading... Has he been off the track? He's lost his front wing, SD Mats. So, 2 drivers who are safe on points at the moment in the playoffs are going to be starting right at the back of this thing because of accidents and invalidations. That is a real shocker. And OKK and Ben Harrett and Yuri will be loving that.
Yeah, and Jess and Pete as well. Don't forget, it only takes one good result to really swing things down at the cut-off line. What a shame for Esty and Jordan. Jordan actually saying earlier in the week how he'd love to win a race before he retires from league racing at the end of this season across all respective leagues that he is in. One Hub Racing, another one of those. But yeah, starting P20. Thankfully, Owen, you may remember this. Arnoud de Grief. Arnoud de Grief won from P20 here in Season 4.
I was just making sure Jake hadn't retired on track there for a second. I was about to say, but he's alright. And Leroy, I'm a big fan of this. I think this is one of the new livery templates from the Podium Pass, and he's certainly done good things with it. I'm liking the green on there. You know I like a good green on anything, but green with greys and blacks, big fan. And will it produce a good lap time? Leroy, who of course won in Imola 2 races ago, he's absolutely safe and very much into the playoffs. He's just looking for a strong end to his first half of the season. Will he be helping his brother out? If his Joker works out, I imagine those two will be a properly good duo if we end up in a situation in any way close similar to Imola. As he comes around the final corner, Leroy to the line. It's not going to be fastest, but it will be a decent time. It goes P5.
And I raced Leroy here in Kia Series last week or week before. He is rapid. So do watch out for him later in the race as we move on to Kieran. Running team speed colours. We're still not quite used to this one, but Kieran is a team speed driver now.
Well, that's weird.
Thoughts, Owen? Yeah, it is weird, isn't it? We're used to those colours, but not on him.
I'm used to him having weird colours. I always like Kieran having a weird oranges and greens and reds put together, but he's gone for team speed, and well, it puts him PT on the grid for now, so it's not too bad. But Corey's time from earlier is still holding very strong indeed. Now, here's Gareth. We all love this livery. He's gone for a replication of a fire t-shirt. It's about as grim as it gets, but you know what? It suits. It suits very nicely, and I'm a big fan of it.
It gives us early 2000s disco vibes, doesn't it?
Oh, it does, doesn't it?
Do you remember that at school? You used to pay £1 to go to the school disco.
Do you know what? Even
that is what it's based on.
Even a bit of Hot Wheels vibes as well. It is so naughty as this is. And do you know what?
I was just going to say, or from a motorsport standpoint, you could say Jeff Gordon's Exalta scheme. And DuPont scheme, which used to have the flames.
I was about to say it was similar to a NASCAR scheme, but I was never going to know which one, so I was waiting for you to say it one. As Gareth goes P9 only. I think he'd be disappointed with that lap time, but it is worth pointing out he's on 67 points so far this season. He could actually get himself into the playoffs tonight if he has a properly good enough race for it, and enough goes wrong behind him. I think he'd be able to get there on points just about, but it's very unlikely. But it could happen.
No front wing. No front wing for Jamie Griffiths.
And after last week's spin after spin after spin after spin, Jamie Griffiths is having more trouble then. And he's going to end up qualifying towards the back of the grid. He's not going to qualify at all. He's had a big off, and he'll be P18 on the grid. And that's a disappointment for him as we move on then to Jamie Wright, who's invalidated. It's like they're all bowing down to Corey. I bet he can't believe his luck right now. How about Casper? How is he getting along? He seems to be okay as he heads through towards the Lake Colm chicane. 29.9 for the first sector, relatively strong. Brave enough to climb all over the curves, but you can see once he got there, he didn't want to go on the throttle too much as through the exit of Malmedy he comes. And, well, Casper, only driver this season to have won more than one race. And he'll be certainly looking to put a second pole position on his record as well as he comes through No Name. Didn't look massively confident through there though. Normally you see the drivers throw the cars into the corners, but Casper, a bit understeery. You wonder if he's gone more for straight line speed, and that'll be where he takes advantage tonight because he's understeering into every corner. But he's getting round.
Yeah, getting Minardi vibes off of Casper. Of course, last season's pole sitter here, I said it earlier, it was a 1:42.366. It's definitely not going to be beaten tonight, I'll say that with confidence. But as you say, Owen, Corey still the front runner, but the two big names to come is this man Casper and then Iceman in a second. But what can Casper do as we head up towards the bus stop chicane? Just the two corners to go then for the Finn. Throws it to the right and then keep the traction on exit on this final corner to the left hand at DRS Open where the restart zone is, and Casper to the line. It's only P4. What about Iceman?
Well, that's a shock to see him so low, but he's, like I say, perhaps gone for a more race-orientated setup, as Iceman still yet to pick up a pole position this season. It's hard to believe. We were calling him Mr. Pole Position last time round, but it's not happened so far. 5 poles in the Cup Series. Can he make it 6 as he heads through the middle sector? It's looking good. It's looking very good indeed.
He's the only man who's matched Corey in the second sector there for time. This could be the first pole position of the season for Iceman, Owen.
I'd be absolutely amazed if this doesn't go on pole position. That was nearly a second quicker than Casper's pace was at the same point on the last lap, which would suggest we are on to see the biggest pole position gap of the whole season. And Iceman is a badly needed pole position. He wants to take the regular series championship tonight. Can he put himself in pole position? 1 minute 43.5 to beat, and he's absolutely smashed it. 4 tenths clear. It's Iceman on pole position for the first time this season.
Well done to Iceman. That finally is his first pole of the season, his 7th in the Cup Series. I think that puts him 5th all time. Great lap from him, and Corey will be so disappointed because he could have done with that playoff point. But then again, Ben will argue, so does he, because he's found himself a couple playoff points behind Casper and J-Luke as we start looking towards the postseason now. What a lap from the man from St Helens.
It's a shame we only saw half of it, really. That was a fantastic lap, and it is a well-needed pole position. Like I say, it gives Corey an interesting challenge because he may well be able to take advantage of the toe up towards the Lecombe chicane, because you've got to understand, Corey needs to win this race. There's no if, ands or buts about it. If he doesn't win this race, Austria is another track he's good at, but you'd rather do it now than put all the pressure on yourself next week. Although I'm sure part of him is sitting there thinking, I want to just get through the chase, but he's so inconsistent that you may not be able to put a chase campaign together, so he needs to get through, I think, via playoffs if he wants a chance at the championship, and this is a very big race for him as a result.
Sure is. At least he'll be on the front row. That, by the way, is the biggest pole margin this season, which takes the cumulative total up to 0.829 after 9 races.
So, the grid: Iceman, Corey, Kieran, Jake, Casper, Pete, OKK, Leroy, Yuri, Risky, Gareth, Ben, Spurs, Jess, MK Bourne, ST Match, and Jamie, Connor, other Jamie, Tees, Jordan. 6 drivers didn't get a time on the board, and MK Bourne, of course, had that front wing and puncture combination. And our Jokers, 13th for Jess and 9th for Yuri, right behind his brother. Will they be able to work together tonight on a race that should be very entertaining indeed? Because like I say, I reckon the pressure will be starting to build with these drivers, knowing how competitive the season's been so far. We're going to see elbows starting to be really put out there.
Yep, and I wonder, with Pete racing for his granddad, here we go. We'll come back to that in a second, but with Pete racing for his granddad tonight, that's his best qualifying of the season, and also the last driver within a second of pole. So maybe Pete will sniff a win for the first time in, I do have a stat for it somewhere, about 83 races since his last victory.
So assuming that this stays intermediate, this is a fantastic opportunity for a Joker driver, because this makes their strategies so much easier. I've not been looking at the chat. I never tend to for weather these days. I'd rather just sit here and watch it happen. I don't know if it's going to stay into the whole time. Do you know if it's going to stay into the whole time?
Not a clue, mate.
Well, there we go. We'll be able to sit here and guess our way around this one. But if it does, then intermediate runners, if they can just do a simple one-stop, they'll be loving life. And no formation lap as always, so we will just be sitting back and waiting. Despite all of the updates done to the game, we still can't do a formation lap.
Shocking, isn't it? I think, like me, some people are still struggling with photo mode as well. And there's another glitch we saw in the lobby earlier, how it is just about showing you the amount of drivers in the lobby. But this is Codemasters. Thankfully, JACKOCAR makes up for its faults. Tonight's Jokers are Jess and Yuri. The stages end on lap 6 and lap 11. It's Spa, it's round 9, it's JACKOCAR. It's the Cup Series and it's Thursday night. Owen Wyatt, what about those famous little words?
We love these words. If they'll ever start. Boogity 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 boogity. Let's go racing in Spa. Who gets the run towards turn 1? Corey versus Iceman. How brave is he going to be? Right round the outside, Corey. Going for the lead straight away. Nearly contact with Iceman, but he has got through. And looks like Jake's had a really decent start as well. A few cars sliding round on the exit, but no one having accidents as of yet. Who's going to be brave on the inside of a Rouge? Surely people are going to be backing off there. You do not want an accident on lap 1, but a lot of cars going very wide indeed. And a big slide for Yuri, our Joker driver. Will he collect it all up? We're looking at the front 5 though, because here comes Jake on the outside, and they're both trying to find a way through on Corey, who does not have the straight line speed. Contact between the top 2. Off goes Corey. He'll get away with that, but Jake surely has to pit. I'd imagine Corey will get that penalty removed, although of course he has to pit, so he will have to take it actually. So that's controversy right at the start of the race. Jake though still fighting away with Casper, who gets himself through up into the podium positions. What a dramatic start we're having.
What a shame for Corey, and of course because he will serve that penalty, it cannot be removed. But they're still battling behind Iceman and Casper and Catchman. They're all over it, but Catchman, with that wing damage, he runs wide, as you can see. Pete Knighton sniffing the top 5 at the moment as he sits in behind Kieran as we're halfway around the opening lap here at Spa.
And Kieran just going to get stuck behind here. He really wants to find a way through ASAP as he has a bit of a slide on the exit off the Fania chicane. And there's another yellow flag in the background. That's for Connor, who didn't get to qualify, remember, because he was late into the lobby. As wide goes Risky. And
Pete's in the
Pete's
wall.
off as well. That's a safety car, surely, because there's a big pile-up, and that's Ben Harrett, I think, getting involved in that too. He must have damage, as a safety car does indeed get deployed. Just VSC for now, full safety car. As we lose Risky from this race. He's out, and the rest will get away as Corey takes a non-mandatory, I want to say.
Yep.
And so that'll be to get rid of the penalty, I think, more than anything else.
Jake stays out with his damage. Jake stays out.
And indeed, Corey is taking his penalty, so got to keep... It's the right thing to do, because I suppose he now doesn't have to worry about it for the rest of the race, and if luck goes his way later on, he'll be able to get himself back into the running. But Iceman, leader at the end of lap 1. What a dramatic start that was.
Don't mind me, Owen. I'm just writing down the non-mandatories of Corey, Connor, Esty, and Pete. Pete, by the way, very unlucky. He lost it on the exit there. And Risky had nowhere to go, so Risky, you could argue, more unlucky getting a DNF out of that. But Pete stays in the race, but will not be happy because he was up there in 5th and looked like he had a lot of pace. So it's a shame for him. Catchman, I do wonder if he'll be penalised for that with a steward's inquiry, but I also wonder more about his damage. Can he really wheel that thing around here with that amount of damage on the front of the car? Casper and Kieran look quite fast, and Corey was also very fast, wasn't he? But we'll have to see what he can do coming up from the field, from the back of the field. Iceman, the pole sitter, leads lap 1 and retains the lead here on lap 2, despite everything. What a crazy opening lap we had.
And so the biggest gainer then in the whole field is Jamie Wright, up 8 places, so he is doing very well so far to recover from qualifying. A few have also made 6 up, being Jamie Griffiths, Tees and Jordan. And like I say, with the incident there happening, I'm amazed that Ben Spurs didn't have any damage. I was sure he had run into that accident, but it appears not. Maybe it was someone else with a black band on their name, but I'm sure I saw him going off. But if he's not him, I'm sure that's good news for him, because yeah, every point he can get here is crucial. But OKK, of course, sitting in 5th place as well. Again, we'll keep saying it, he's got the pace and the potential to make things work, and with SC Matt's down in 17th place, it's a big day for both of those two, even if they can finish where they are right now.
Yeah,
Gareth in 7th as well. Like I say, he's on 67 points, so he's in a unique situation. He's a good 12 points clear of Krishna Tara. That's why I'm saying he could theoretically get over the 20 points clear and be safe, but that would require quite a lot to happen tonight. But being 7th right now, I think he'd be happy enough, because it would have him near enough secure and into the playoffs. But yeah, you never know what can happen.
Yeah, and we have seen OKK in races earlier this season where he's kept up with the pace of
the rain stopping.
When
very
not
light
on my screen.
Very, very,
very
light.
Pitters though, corner pits. But yeah, OKK definitely a serious threat for the win here, if he can match his pace from like Australia, where he was with Ben the whole way. Of course, Ben did win that race in the end.
I think the rain's going to stop in a moment.
Connor's putting soft tyres on.
Well, that would also support my theory. And so, do they think the track's going to dry quickly? SD Matt has actually already been on the sauce, as you can see. So, do they think the track's going to dry up, possibly in time for the safety car to end? If so, then they're going to want the safety car possibly to last one more lap, because it is still raining out there, albeit so very lightly.
And it falls now into the hands then of Yori and Jess. Yori had an atrocious opening lap, but of course this is going to bring him right back into it. And Jess not quite on the pace in qualifying, but of course with that one stop in hand that she will have, if she plays her cards right, she's going to be right up there towards the end. So JACKOCAR, as ever, providing the entertainment. We don't control the weather, but some say we do.
Yeah, those people are wrong. Unless you're watching the Saudi Arabia's All-Star race. In which case, I was watching that last night. You might have seen if you were in the Twitter chat. What a race that was. we got to do that again at some point. But the track is still being soaked with rain. Like, again, albeit not very much. And it's literally just spitting now. It might as well not even be raining. So I guess it will stop imminently. But I think we're going to have a few people sitting on the dry tyres here thinking they may have made a bit of a mistake. But let's wait and see, because the restart should be very interesting, because I think everyone out there is going to have slightly compromised grip, because the rain has now stopped and the safety car lights are going to turn off. The thing is, right, these guys on the sauce, all they have to do is survive the lap and they'll cycle forwards. But of course the issue is they've taken non-mandatory stops to get there. And that's the one disadvantage that they'll have. But they'll make it work still if they can just stay out there. Because you know what? Riding over with SD Match, you wouldn't think the track was ever wet.
Yeah, not a single mandatory stop has been taken, and it does look like it's drying very quickly. And of course, if they've come in this lap, it would also be a non-mandatory stop. So everyone has to do one racing lap here. So we've got the whole strategy to play out just yet, Owen, and I'm very much looking forward to it as Iceman approaches then the bus stop chicane, and soon after that it'll be the restart zone as we get underway once again at Spa.
And I reckon he's just going to bolt it down the road. There's no point sitting around and waiting, but that's exactly what he's doing. He's away now, but he's going to be more focused, surely, on just bolting down the road, because it's a very interesting situation. As down the inside goes Jake with his damage for second place. He pushes Casper off the road, and now he sits side by side with Kieran, who's actually still side by side with Casper, as they go wheel to wheel down towards Eau Rouge, and they're going to stay side by side all the way up the hill. Brilliant stuff as Casper stays in front and Kieran into the toe, OKK into the toe. Remember, all these guys potentially on the wrong tyre, as Jamie Wright makes up another position up into 7th place. Down the inside goes OKK, can't make it work, locks up, and Leroy just sits there in P6 behind, letting it all happen in front of him. As let's see how these guys are doing. Corey up into 14th place now, but how are the soft runners doing? They're still running at the back, but they're holding on to the back of Pete's car, and so I think they're doing alright at the moment, as Corey makes yet another move on the inside of Yori, the Joker driver. He and Jess are going to be doing their absolute best just to stay calm, because they can probably stick a set of hard tyres on, maybe even mediums if they're anticipating more safety cars later on, and they could go to the end. Surely they're all going to be in at the end of this lap, and it'll create a lot of stacking, so I imagine this order will flip on its head once again.
Certainly will, wasn't it? Corey's looking so fast though, isn't he? Maybe this is his chance of a race win tonight, but we know Austria next week, he's won there before, so he definitely has two chances. He'll have a little moment, but how will the drivers play this, Owen? Because we can see everybody come in potentially, but will it be worth sticking out so you don't have to stack with everybody else? Do one more lap on the inters. Is it worth the risk? Will you lose too much time? Let's find out as they head into the bus stop chicane there once again. Nice man. Where does he go? He pits.
And this is the thing, you don't know who your teammate is, and so it's a lottery as to whether you're going to stack with anyone or not. So this is fascinating.
Jess stays out.
Jess stays out. I wonder why she's doing that. As we get yellow flags in this last sector, is that just for the stacking in the pit lane, or is there actual accidents going on? But, well, who knows who has to stack with who? It's really a complete guessing game. Well, all we do know is that Iceman comes out okay, but Connor on the sauce as well then. ahead of SD Mats. And, well, he will be the net race leader, but of course, he has to make some pit stops. But I suppose at this stage of the race, you can just do a normal strategy. A normal 2-stop around here is not the end of the world with where these guys are, but they've got the track position, and that's the important thing. And so, it's hard to really tell who's lost out and who's gained there, but it looks like OKK's now 4th in the road. Under pressure from Leroy, so who would that mean? It would be Jake, who's had to change his front wing. Gareth followed with the back of him. So those guys haven't lost out massively, I don't think, as Corey challenging the 2 Jamies. That'll be a good scrap as they head through Les Combes and into Malmedy. But it's amazing how quickly that track dried up as Corey does the switchback and moves on towards the inside line on the 2-time champion. Down the inside as Iceman, already picking up a penalty. It's only lap 5. If he keeps it that, he'll have no chance of winning.
Very uncharacteristic from Iceman. Very quickly, Owen. I know there's action everywhere, but one for the Jess Poole fans. She's never led a lap in the Cup Series, and she has to hold on for all of Sector 3.
I'm not sure she'll
Connor
do it.
is closing in so fast here. Will he ruin her day? Will he pit, by the way, because he needs to? I think Jess will pit as well. She has to, doesn't she? Because those inters, they are not going to last. What will happen then? Into the bus stop again.
I've noticed that Yuri's now last, so was he one of the drivers who had to stack? He's on the Joker, remember, as Jess does pit, and so Connor will lead a lap. And Jess, well, she may have taken the lead when everyone else was slowing down for the pit limiter, in fairness, so maybe the records may still show she led a lap. We'll have to wait and see, possibly VAR that one later on, but
I've already VAR'd it.
Well, there you go.
Iceman led lap 4 and Connor led lap 5 as he comes on to lap 6 then. There is a playoff point at the end of this lap. There's something that Connor could do with because he's definitely heading towards the chase. 30 points behind the cut-off line. What can he do?
And so, if we're looking purely at strategy, then Jess is right now the net race leader as she comes out of the pits because the guys in front have not got a pit stop on her. And we'll just have to wait and see if she has any pace, because Yuri's nowhere near her right now. And so the Joker, as of now, it's working out. I mean, she's already sitting P10. It's not bad. She avoided all the stacking, of course, by setting out that extra lap, so it was clever stuff. As SD Mats pulls alongside, pulls ahead, and up into P10 on yet another set of new softs.
Yep, notably though, with that extra pit stop to make. So Jess is actually now under attack from Jordan, who sends it down the inside, and Tez running well, and still running, more importantly. As he has a little bit of contact with Jess, but makes it happen at no name. Fair play, good bit of driving from those two.
That was a good move, that.
Yeah, and Iceman closing the gap now as well to Jess.
And Iceman, yeah, like I say, so he's finished his pit stop strategy, hasn't he now? So he's also basically on the same strategy as Jess, so if he can overtake her, then he'll technically be up there, but you can see how much he's having to hold back as he sits on the outside, and that 3-second penalty will cost him possibly later on, and the hard compound tyres, is it the right one to be on? It's an interesting strategy for him, but I suppose he can do whatever he likes, really, because he's already into the playoffs, he's already top of the championship. So he's allowed to risk a little bit more out there. But yeah, hard compound tyres for him to the end. I'm not convinced.
Connor,
his T's goes up to 11th place now, as Connor did pick up that playoff point.
He picks up the playoff point. That's his 4th one he's ever got. But also he has front right end plate damage. Did you see that?
I have not seen that. That's pretty impressive then. He's keeping on going like this. But that surely will mean that when Kieran arrives, he'll be straight past him. As Gareth now picks up a 3-second time penalty as well, as he sits at the back of the field. And yeah, Connor, when did he pick that damage up? Because that must be recent.
I mean, I didn't see any contact, so the only thing I can think of is he's done it on the coming out of the exit of the pit lane. Possibly Kieran round the outside.
Move.
Great move. Get that one in the highlight reel at the end of the season. Fantastic driving from the young man from Aylesbury.
And what do we say about him kicking on after taking a race victory, making the move for the lead? The next race, he's absolutely on it, the young man.
That's exactly what he did in the playoffs last season. He won Japan, then I think he had a podium, then he won in Mexico. Was it Mexico?
Mexico was the first one, wasn't it? And then he got Japan last race before the Championship 5.
I'll soon correct myself, don't you worry. So Kieran won in Mexico, then he was on the podium for Austin, and then won in Japan before finishing 5th in Saudi Arabia.
No, Casper. Let's see how he gets on. Well, he's been let through, actually, so that was a lot easier, as Connor proceeds to go straight off the track. And, well, I suppose he'll be going straight for the pits as well. Like, that damage must be new. Look at how he's driving. That must be new damage. He's always letting people through and all that, but, like, what? Why is he not pitting? What's his plan? What's his plan? Because I'm very intrigued to see what he's going to do here. I might just keep my eye on him, because I'm sure he'll come to someone who he's going to start to block.
Well, he won't block Jake, I can assure you of that.
No.
Maybe
I'd be
Corey.
surprised. Oh, well, maybe.
Corey is the fastest man on track, but you'd also like to think Corey's got enough pace to get past Connor once he gets up to the back of him.
Has he got the patience, though, if he catches him at the wrong point?
Ah, well, we'll find out, won't we? The immediate answer in my head is no, as Jake gets past
same.
Connor.
That's what I worry about with Corey, so that's what we'll keep our eye on. And yeah, so Connor could have pitted, didn't pit, obviously. Only driver not to make a boundary stop yet. So, has to do it at some point. But he can't even keep the thing on the track, as Corey arrives. And yellow flags, that's for Pete? Jess, what's happened here? Odd place for yellow flags to be coming out. And Yuri around the outside as well. He's outsided the outsider. Oh, he's out.
Oh no, he's out.
Safety car potential, and Connor will be sitting there thinking, I've not pitted yet. And he'll be loving this. I'm just going to check it is a full safety car. It is indeed. And
it is,
yeah. Yes. Well, I suppose this helps, actually, the guys who did their jokers, because they can catch right up to the back of the field now, because they don't have to pit again. So Yuri will be, be happy enough for this one. He was able to get ahead of Jess before all that happened as well, so he is clearly having a good run. I don't think I've praised his livery enough, by the way. This is a lovely livery. Just out of interest. But Casper in the pits again, then. Taking a non-mandatory stop. Stays out.
You have already said it, but Iceman is the only man who's completed his 2 mandatories. He's on the hards. That's hards to the end. I can't see anything else that he would do, and this will put him in front of Casper. Will it? No, it won't. Casper. I think Casper's going to beat Iceman out here.
Ooh.
He is.
He will. This wasn't even close. He's not even got through turn 1 yet. The only thing with Iceman is he has the penalty, and that's what I worry about.
Garrett has a puncher. Garrett has a puncher right back.
Oh, that's a shame, isn't it? Luckily, he was last anyway, so it's not going to cost him much. But he may have wanted to take those hard compound tyres a bit further into the thing. He has made 2 stops, I think. Were they both mandatory stops?
This is Garrett's first non-mandatory.
So he's also finished his pistol strategy. So maybe this is a blessing in disguise. He can possibly stick a set of medium compound tyres on to the end of the race from here.
Yeah. I think his plan might well have been to run the hards, though. You know, because why else would you do 2 mandatories and then go with the hards as your chosen race tyre? So that has actually ruined his strategy, in my eyes. It will be mediums, though.
I don't know, because this safety car will probably go in at the end of, say, lap 10. You'll only have to do 12 racing laps on these medium compound tyres. I'd say they're more than capable of doing that. So he was last anyway. All this means is he gets to catch up on the field now, so I think this could be a blessing in disguise. Unfortunately, like Iceman, he also has a penalty.
Yes, so really, the net race leader...
Collision with Iceman for MK Bourne. Now, he's the driver behind, so you would imagine if there's anyone with damage, it would be him, but it's hard to tell because the game never likes to give us good camera angles. But did both drivers pick up a penalty? That's what I want to know.
MK Bourne definitely did.
I can't find penalties there. Yeah, MK Bourne the only one who got a penalty. So, Iceman lucky, I suppose, in that situation, because the game often gives 2 penalties for that thing, 1 for both drivers.
But will that contact give him floor damage and unsettle the rear? That's the question. I was going to say, though, Iceman, Gareth, Yuri, Jess are the ones all going to the end. Leroy as well, I think, is complete on strategy, as well as J-Luke, as ever.
Yes, so the guys at the front aren't really the front runners then for now, because of the way the pit stops will work out. But again, more safety cars later on can push them right into it.
Jake pits.
Jamie's going to pit again, as is SD Mats. He's never out of the pits, this kid. And what's he going to put on? Because it's surprising to see Jamie going on to the mediums. I would imagine SD's going to go on to or off mediums, sorry. I imagine SD's going to go on mediums, because that makes sense. If you can do it, do it. Obviously, if you're a Joker driver, don't do that, because you can't pit again if you want to win on the Joker. But I'm surprised Leroy's not even doing it, because you might as well just take those tires and get to the end of the race.
4 stops now for SD as well, by the way. 2 mandatory, 2 non-mandatory. So he is to the end, he would like to think. Corey has actually recovered all the way back to P5, but still with a stop to go. It's one of those races, once again, Owen, where it's all unfolding, but we don't quite know in which direction.
I'm very interested to see how it's going to pan out, because with SD Matt's strategy as it is, I think he does stand a very nice chance indeed of getting himself well up the grid. He's on the right tyre, we know he's a consistent driver, barring last week, and you know, he's sitting in a slightly precarious situation with the way the playoffs are at the moment. Earlier on in the season, he was so comfortable with his top 5s, his top 4s, everything, all that going on. So I'll be interested to see if he can actually get himself up the grid.
Yeah, this is one of those races yet again where anybody can win, isn't it? Which is what we love. 7 from 8 so far. Will it be 8 from 9? And will it make life difficult for OKK, Ben Harrett, Jordan, Gareth down on the cut line?
Well,
maybe one of those will win a race.
I imagine safety car is going to be in this lap, so hopefully we'll find out soon enough, because Gareth is now caught up to the pack. And I suppose he did lose out in the end, actually, because SD Mats did essentially get a free pit stop on him, and the safety car is indeed going to be in this lap, so we'll get to see the 18 remaining drivers going for it. And I wonder how soon the likes of Kier and OKK, those guys on the sauce, I wonder when they're going to pit again, because they really do have to worry about everyone else on those mediums. And Connor, of course, with that front wing damage, he still has Corey behind him. We know that Corey's a very impatient driver, but he needs a win tonight, so will he have to get some patience? I'll be very interested to see how he gets on. Only on 5 points this season. He really needs this one.
But you say he's only on 5 points, but he's won 5 cup races in the past, so he knows how to do it. But he did say after last week he doesn't like finishing off the podium. And I think, JACKOCAR, the way it is, you have to accept that you're going to have your bad days. And if a bad day means finishing...
That's a
P5,
car off. Casper's
P11.
just gone off. And well, we're going to not be able to see him for very long, but his pit stop has made even more confusing, because now he's at the back of the grid. So he's going to have a lot of work to do. Was he punted off? Did he just go off on his own? Here comes Kieran to the restart zone. Hasn't quite gone yet. Another car. 2 cars off again. So that's T's off and Ben Harrett. Kieran's got away okay, but as we head towards turn 1, Corey, he wants to get away from Connor as quickly as possible. Down the inside he goes on Jake. And Jake has a big slide on the exit. OKK, I think, is short shifted so much he can't take any advantage of it. He's just going to sit back and watch those 2 side by side up the hill as Jake holds on to second place. Kieran has absolutely bolted on this restart, and Corey, we know how impatient he is. Let's see if he can make the move work on the man who crashed into him on lap 1. He's practically bump drafting him, and will he go to the inside? He sure will. He's going to be hitting him. He's going to be spinning off the track. No surprise he got hit as well, though.
No, that's a dangerous retron.
Who hit him? Connor's now out of the race. Was it him, or has someone else gone and hit him? But either way, OKK's now fighting Jamie Griffiths, and he's going to get hit as well as the 2 go dancing off the track. And Jamie Griffiths up into the podium positions then. Kieran already is setting clear. I'm surprised that we haven't got a safety car for whatever happened at Lake Calm and Malmedy, and you can see Corey's... I think we've now got a safety car. Because, yes, Corey is... Yeah, he's raging right now. You can only imagine. Well, actually, we know exactly what he's going to do. He'll be in the chat any second now. And, well it's going to come down to Austria. It doesn't surprise me. But it's going to come down to Austria then for Corey, because there's no way he went on there, surely. But this is what we said, he went for the move straight away. Why was he doing that? Because he didn't have to risk it on someone on a medium compound tyre. It confuses me.
Yeah, it's Corey, isn't it? But the move, as much as it was on, he was the car behind, so he should have controlled it a bit better. Jake gave him the room, but Corey just went in too deep. And then, of course, the way the game gives you damage and the collision model,
That's just what spun him there. But the rejoin was what got me for Corey. He accelerated straight in to the line, into the racing line. So I think that'll be punishable. He may even get a ban for that possibly. But we'll have to go to VAR as MK Bourne makes a non-mandatory pit stop. Corey will be pitting as well with that wing damage. ST Mats and Tez in there as well.
Yeah, ST Mats. It's a shame because he had made up so many positions on that restart, but he has no front wing on the car. And so he may be able to put softs on to the end. So again, might be a blessing in disguise this one, but yeah, I'm sure he'll be hoping for a bit more from that. But Patisse, lucky with that spin on the restart that he didn't actually end up DNFing, so he's made it halfway through it. I don't think we've seen that from him all season, so he's doing well. Perhaps he'll actually finish a race for once as he comes back out in P13. Still ahead of Casper, who I think has been off twice on that restart because he went off before the restart but was so far behind the pack when all the accidents were happening. I wonder if he went off again in the final corner. I don't quite know who put him off in the first place, but unfortunately for him, we saw it, so yeah, that'll be a bit of an embarrassing one for him. He's got quite a habit of this recently, spinning off. After his second win of the season, he sort of dropped off the pace a little bit, and well, he's going to have quite the interesting last 10 laps, let's say. Let's see if he can get himself back up. But Kieran, Jake, Jamie, OKK, Ben, all still sitting there. Yuri as well, okay with where he is, I think. I mean, the penalty will still be annoying him, but those top 5, they really are now looking the pits desperately, I think. As we lose Pete from the session, he's not going to be bothered to watch us anymore. His loss, really.
Yeah, because we're just over halfway. Actually, saying that, just over halfway, Kieran picked up the Stage 2 victory, which, for those that are interested, is the 8th stage he's ever won in his career here in JACKOCAR. But yeah, halfway to go, and I'm sure a lot more action. So Owen, what are we looking at now? Iceman is still the man with strategy complete.
Well, I don't know, I'm looking at Jamie
behind him.
I'm looking at Jamie, who's right behind both of them on fresher tyres and no penalties. And Jordan as well. Has Jordan finished his pit stop strategy?
Let me get back to you. Jordan is complete on strategy.
Yeah, so he's looking really good. I mean, how long have we been waiting for him to win a race? I'm sure might be a little bit of tactics coming in. Jamie, does he really need to win another race? Would he prefer having Jordan in the playoffs over someone like SD Mats? You know, tactics could come into play.
You ask how long we've been waiting for a Jordan win. This is race number 72 for the young man from Sheffield.
It is indeed. And so I have a feeling they're definitely both sort of would work together on this one. I have no doubt that Jamie would let that win happen if he could. And so the man who's only had one pole position in his JACKOCAR career, could he finally get his first win as well? It's a long way to go, and I'd still argue you'd want to be on a set of medium compound tyres, and so even though Gareth is sitting there with a penalty, he may still have a chance to fight for sort of more positions and maybe even pull away if he gets them. So I'm interested in all this.
Do you remember after Brazil in the playoffs last season where the must win for Jamie Wright, which he went and won it, but Jordan was P2, he said, if it wasn't a playoff race, a race I didn't need to win, I would have let Jordan through for victory. So maybe, if it happens, of course Iceman with that penalty as well, maybe it might just happen, but we've guessed so much so far, and
yes.
Carnage has happened, hasn't it?
Well, yeah, it's hard to predict really things in this league, isn't it, when we've had 7 different winners in the first 8 races. But I suppose one thing you can predict is that you'll probably get more different winners, and so Jordan, he'll be fancying his chances right now, and we did certainly map him out as one of the drivers who could win for the first time at some point this season. I mean, he has been here for so long now, and he's had so many good races, and so hopefully this will be the night. I'm sure he'll be sitting there. Maybe he hasn't even worked it out yet, because he sits there right now, thinks I'm only P9, nothing in it for me at the moment. But well, depending on how the safety cars keep going, I think this is falling more and more into his hands. And I've got to say as well, Jess, I mean, with the way the penalties are, she sits net podium right now. So, I mean, she'll be also sitting pretty happy with this one. We've never seen her on the podium before in the Cup Series. It'll be quite an historic moment if she can manage it, but she's there.
Yep, don't forget, race winner in Kia Series is Jess, but Jordan, for those that don't remember, he come into JACKOCAR in the Cup Series in in Season 1. He joined us for the postseason because he missed the regular season, and he's been a regular feature ever since. 72 races later, still searches that win. He is the most successful driver without a win in the Cup Series. It's a stat that nobody wants, but he does possess 12 laps to go of Spa. What is to come of it? Will Jordan get his first win? Will we see another repeat winner? Maybe Gareth, OKK, Ben Spurs. Everybody has been, or had form throughout this season. But yeah, who knows? It's JACKOCAR, isn't it, Owen?
It is indeed. And so, we're waiting for the restart then. And, well, we've spent so long on the safety car now the last couple of laps. I'm waiting for some actual action. Hopefully, Kieran can, well, do you know, maybe I don't want him to get off the line. Give us a bit of drama for the lead. The leaders have had a bit too easy in the last couple of laps. Give us a bit more like lap 1 as Kieran gets himself up into the restart zone. And it's all to him now when he puts his foot down. He hasn't really got off the line very well, but nor has Jake. And so Jamie Griffiths is going to be straight up into second place, surely with that one. And he dives at the inside to confirm it. And look at Ben, he's had to check up, and he's been hit by Yuri, I think, through turn 1. That could so easily have been damage as we lose another car through turn 1. I think that's OKK once again, falling into his old tricks of spinning off all the time. It costs him so much as Jake into the back of Jamie on the way up the hill. That could have so easily been another big accident in this race. Another big accident at Radion. We've seen it before in this league. As Yuri and Iceman swap places. This is dramatic stuff. This is very important for their races. As we see Jake wheel binding with Jamie and wide and off the road. He nearly... Oh, that'll be a safety car potentially. Another big accident.
Tez.
That's not even Tez's fault this time. What a shame.
Not.
But no safety car for it. But Yuri ahead of Iceman. I wonder how that one happened. He really did have to check up at turn 1, Iceman, but I didn't think he'd get overtaken as Jamie still holds that P6, which is essentially still leading the race, as we predictably get a safety car.
And what you guys didn't see as you were watching the action at the front is Ben Harrett had a massive lift through Radion. The car fishtailing out, and he managed to hold it together, but of course it was Jamie Griffiths in the back of Jake O'Sullivan as they were vying for P2. Kieran will get to do another restart. He is on his way to leading the most laps and an extra playoff point in this race. Tez leaves the session, but of course strategies are still yet to be complete, and the key one is the man that once finished P2 here, I think in Season 1. Yuri is on course for a place in this season's playoffs, and this season just keeps on delivering.
I'm just so annoyed he has the penalty though to deal with.
OKK's beached. OKK's got a rear puncher, can't get up Eau Rouge.
That might actually be the reason for the safety car then, because we didn't. Yeah, he's been disqualified now. Jamie's in the pits again. Ooh, interesting. Right, okay. So he's thrown away the lead on track. We said he may give Jordan the opportunity. Jordan is now the net race leader. Simply the race leader, that's it. And Leroy, he's also completed the strategy, but he's on the right tyre.
Hold on,
as I said,
it's got ghosted. Oh, it's
gone.
Been
disqualified.
Oh,
but
no, I didn't know if it had ghosted at all because it was still on the the inside of Eau Rouge there.
Right, so trying to figure this strategy out. So Jamie is going to come out in P10, so let's just say that's net P5 after penalties ruin it for the top two, who would be Yuri and Iceman. And then it would be Jordan, Leroy, Jess, SD Mats again. SD Mats on really good tyres, and he's definitely moving himself up the grid. He was right at the back earlier, remember? So this is a very good run from him. And, I mean, if you're that top 3 right now, I mean, you must be hating this so much, because they still have to finish their strategies off. And they're just stuck here. Meanwhile, drivers on 6 pit stops are fighting for podium positions. I mean, SD, I don't know exactly what the podium is, or the record is for most pit stops to hit the podium, but SD Mats, he's on target for it. 6 pit stops in a race, that's mad. And he's still up there.
4 of them non-mandatory. I've forgotten what I was going to say, Owen.
I was asking
by the way,
but...
safety car. This is the 4th of this race. The safety car is set to standard. Remember for the... hold on, right, let me get you the correct stats. For 88 races of the Cup Series, it's always been on increased. Kieran has a puncture.
The race leader has a front right punctured. Wow. Is that from where? It could be. The oldest soft tires out there. Okay,
oh, wow.
Well, does this... Kieran, it's lucky it's not a rear puncture, because a front puncture should be drivable. If it was a rear puncture, he would have been in the fence by now. Or, flat out, just beached. But he's got to make sure he gets himself into the pit lane and takes that left-hander without hitting the wall.
You can see him wiggling and squirming, trying to keep it straight, on a straight. This is ruined his race, although his race was already ruined by the 4 safety cars.
Again, this is a driver who's sitting here very happy he's already qualified for the playoffs, but unfortunately he's going to be right at the back. And Jake then will get to lead some laps, and Ben Spurs sits up there in P2. Another pitter as well in the background, being ST Max for his 7th time. I'm going to guess he'll be putting some soft compound tyres on this time. Hopefully he's not a teammate to Kieran. He's a teammate to Kieran, so that's going to...
It wouldn't matter.
Well, it does. It does a little bit. He's going to lose a couple of seconds. He'll possibly lose position to Casper as a result of this. No, he's okay. Okay, that's good. So ST will come out for T. That moves Jamie right back up. So Jamie's in a pretty good position, and I'd say if he were racing for himself, Jamie Wright has this pretty much in the bag. But that's the question: is he racing for himself, or will he help Jordan if he has an opportunity to do so? Is MK Bourne finished his strategies as well, by the way?
MK Bourne has done 3 stops, 2 of them non-mandatory, so no.
That's a shame.
So your current net completed strategy race leaders, however you want to word it, Yuri, Iceman, Jordan. Then I think Leroy is P4 because he's done 1 non-mandatory, so strategy done, Jess is done, Jamie Wright is done, Gareth is done, Mike is not, Jamie Griffiths is not because he's done 1 non-mandatory, Kieran has 1 to go, SD is done, Casper is done, and of course the front 2 are not done, they've both got 1 stop each to make. It's all up in the air, isn't it?
It is up in the air. It's a shame we've spent half this race behind a safety car, but I mean, do you know what? It's going to give us a good ending because eventually we're going to run out of safety cars to put out. And I'm wondering if even the VSCs that were briefly out before safety cars may even have tipped us over the limit now. So this could actually be the last safety car action of the race, just via the rule book. So the 15, if you're here, still here, thank you. And you will get a good ending to this race, I promise you that. Because this has been teed up to possibly be a first time win for Jordan, possibly be a first time win for Jess. We could see absolute drama. Will we see teamwork coming into play to give drivers who wouldn't normally win a race a chance to do so? Jamie Wright has all the cards in his hand. Will he be able to keep his car in the right direction? Will he keep it all in one piece? So many questions to answer. Can Yuri somehow build a 3-second gap and take a Joker win on the hard compound tyres just like his brother did 2 races ago? And will Iceman be able to make anything happen as well? Can Jake get a restart done? We're getting quite used to the restarts, but he hasn't done one for a while. There's so much to work out. 14 drivers still in this race. We've lost 6 already. Absolute drama in a race that you forget it even started wet. It's just been one of those days. As Jake crawls up to the bus stop chicane. Can you tell I'm itching to get this thing restarted? Move it, lad. I want to see a race.
No more safety cars. No more safety cars, please. Oh, and get us back underway.
Right then, Jake hits the restart zone now. And MK Bourne's got a penalty, but Jake is away. And Ben Spurs follows him nicely, and they're keeping it very much clean in towards turn 1.
Oh, Yuri's hit Ben.
Completely jinx that. And the top 2, net top 2, collide. Can Jordan weave his way through all this? He's side by side with Leroy. Oh, he's letting him back through. He does not want to fight side by side. He knows, surely by now, he's in a potential race winning position as he has Iceman coming alongside him on the back straight. ST Max has now left the session as Kieran has had an accident with Jamie, potentially Jamie up the hill. Will that put another safety car? I think we're out of safety cars, but we'll wait and see. The track has gone green again, and Jordan had lost a place then to Iceman. As we see, Ben Spurs under a huge amount of pressure. Jake has absolutely bolted Jacko.
Yep, Jake with 2 seconds the gap, but of course Ben Harrett lucky to hold on to P2 after that contact from Yuri. Ben has been in the wars actually the last 3 or 4 races. We see him report something every week, which is a shame for him, but he's still got a stop to go, so Yori will be clear at some point. As Catchman trying to... Estimat's rejoins, by the way. I wonder if Catchman can make a big enough lead to then be on softs at the end and really fast and try and make something of this race. Mandatory stop still to be made. And Leroy's
our race leader. Leroy is our race leader, net race leader, but at the moment he's behind his brother as well. Not a bad place to be, really, if you're him. Let's see though if he can make anything work, because Jamie Wright is up into the top 5. He's ahead of Iceman, and Jordan's falling further behind. He's now behind Gareth, who is looking a good result tonight as well. As in towards the bus stop chicane, Leroy with such a late move on his brother. Oh, it's risky to do that, especially with someone on your own bloodline. He's got rights to hit you, you know. You don't want to do that to him. And as he gets away with it, and we see Ben into the pit lane to avoid all this, but round outside for the race lead tries Jamie Wright. Nothing gonna work there, and Yori is not helping his brother out at the moment. Will he give him the tow perhaps up the hill? Will they wait till DRS? Because surely they're gonna work together to try and make this work. Can Leroy perhaps even do a blocking job for his brother? He's now got a penalty, so it's not his race to win anymore.
No, it's J. Luke's who's still got that clear no penalties next to his name, but to hold Jamie up by 3 seconds and allow Yori to get all the way to the end. 5 to go. It's not going to be an easy job, because Iceman and Gareth and Jess are all sniffing the victory behind them. Estimat's rejoins once again. He's not having a good time of it over there in Estonia with his internet.
Is that front wing damage? There was definitely a touch as Jamie hit the back of Leroy, but no front wing damage for now. I think he is starting to block for his brother. The second gap has been made. No DRS is going to be coming Leroy's way on the next lap, so it'll be very hard to keep Jamie behind for much longer. Is he going to have to try and provoke an accident as Jamie goes wide off the road? Stays on track though without any damage.
This is Leroy returning the favour for Imola. Remember when Yori did a cracking job for him?
And it was against Jamie as well that day, wasn't it?
It was. And Jamie congratulated them both as well after that great sportsmanship between everybody here in JACKOCAR. But can he make it happen? The gap is 1.4 to his brother.
He's begging for Iceman to make a move.
He is. That's what he wants, and I wouldn't be surprised either, because Iceman, remember, he is teammates with Yori. Yori would actually be 8 winners in 9 races. Jamie to the outside, then the inside, and up the inside of Leroy. Gets it done in the bus stop, and contact behind between Ben and Leroy. But Jamie is now through as he has a moment on the exit, and Iceman almost loses it. Jess, sorry, it's Gareth actually who snuck through there as Jake pits.
And so Leroy's then, his brave defence is over, and it's going to be Jamie surely who wins this race. But who's going to fill out the rest of the podium positions, because Gareth fancies it. Leroy's now got another penalty, so Gareth certainly looking very good for a podium. He may well get qualified for the playoffs there, because that's such a big points haul he's going to be picking up. And if he doesn't get through today, he's essentially got the points anyway, so this is a big day. If he can just hold on for the last 4 laps, he'll be into the playoffs for the 2nd season in a row.
Yeah, I wonder if Jamie would like to see, like all of us, another race winner.
Or will he
want his 16th?
That's interesting, letting Iceman go through. Gareth let Iceman through. So
Iceman, the faster driver, we saw that in qualifying, don't forget.
Yeah, but look at the tyre difference. I'm amazed. Has Gareth got damage or something? I don't know why he'd be letting that happen, but well, he's gone now. And
maybe
Iceman
floor damage that we don't know
tyres is going through. But by the way, Leroy's still over the back of Jamie. And so
this isn't over.
It's not over yet. He's now got nothing to lose with the penalties as well. So I mean, we saw how far Jamie decided to just dive in from last time. Tell me Leroy wouldn't do the same thing, because he's setting his fastest lap of the race so far as we lose Jamie Griffiths for another spin. And he's using all his ERS, Leroy. Oh, he's not going to, is he?
J-Luke had a moment as well on the exit there at the end of Sector 2. So Leroy's actually closer to him than what Jamie is to Yori. Will Leroy wait for his moment? He will. The gap closes up to Yori. Jamie goes a little bit deep, but gets it under control.
Oh,
and Leroy spun!
Oh, he's been hit by Iceman. And so it's all down to Yori to make it happen now. As we start the last 3 laps of this race, has Jamie picked up any damage from the contact he'd had earlier on in the race? Is there another twist in the tail? Because Yori's doing such a good job right now. I do wonder if Jamie has damage. I really do wonder.
I just wonder if he'd give Yori the win. I don't think he would. Look at Yuri trying to get rid of that slipstream, but it's not going to be enough. Jamie's going to be on him by the end of the lap at least. Kieran with the fastest lap, 45 flat. Still a couple seconds away from this evening's pole time, set by Iceman, running in P3.
He's got a big decision to make here, Jamie. He really does, because does he, who does he want in the playoffs? Because he can make that choice. Does he want Yuri to be fighting alongside him in the playoffs? Does he think he'd be an easier driver to take out of the playoffs? Because that's all it's about. It's narrowing those 10 playoff drivers down to 4. If that's a driver you think you can get out, get him in.
Yeah. So it's not all about race wins, it is about making your life easy in the postseason. And we have seen it done before. Khalifa letting Paul McGuinness pass. We saw it in Kia Series the other day. Jamie Bromley let Jess win. And played a long game. Jamie's really struggling, isn't he? The gap is now up over a second again.
I think there is damage,
I wonder if he's contemplating it, because Iceman within DRS of Jamie. And if he gets a sniff, I think it'll be Yuri's win. But as we come down with 2 to go, it's still all up in the air for the moment. Catchman overtakes Jess for P6. He is making something of this race.
Well,
everyone's strategy is now complete.
That'll give Jamie something to think about as well, with Jake coming through. Doesn't want to give him too much impetus, but well, we're on to the last 2 laps. Is that a pissed off for Leroy? So Leroy must have some sort of damage. He's got himself out of the way of this thing. And well, Jake says the fastest lap. He's a long way away though from Gareth. He has an orange floor according to Pete in the chat, so that's worth pointing out as well. That's why he let Iceman go potentially, just because of the pure damage on his car. But he's doing well to keep going. He's still on course to have well, a P4 finish.
Yep, good stuff from Gareth. That would, I think, see him through to the playoffs on points.
That's
and everyone around him is already there, apart from the current race leader, who needs a win to get through.
He got a win, of
day
course.
for Yuri.
Got a win, of course, last season, but he wasn't a full-time driver when he managed it. He won in Austria. But can this one count for him today? You bet Jacko will absolutely explode if he does. I'm telling you, he's holding it in right now, but there's a serious chance. But will Jamie let it happen? Will he take a second win of the season? Or will he think about it tactically? And you can see his car is covered in stuff, so I'm guessing there's damage. But he has Iceman all over the back of him now as he starts. Well, he starts to think about it. He has to now start thinking about what he's going to do.
Yeah. This is it. Iceman, I don't think he's got enough for the win here at this point, not with the penalty. Because if Iceman goes for it, Jamie's going to end up winning with Iceman and Yuri squabbling. So I think Iceman, all he can do now is be a team player and absolutely send it on Jamie if we want to see a Yuri Hazelager win as we approach 1 lap to go here in Spa. Owen Wyatt take us for one last tour of this amazing circuit, another amazing race in the Cup Series.
I wonder if Jamie may even just get himself a penalty to make it easier. I'm just wondering, what does he want to do? As Jamie Griffiths gets a penalty. Wrong Jamie. Wrong one. But Jamie, of course, there's nothing stopping Jamie Wright taking the victory here. Don't take it away from him. He's doing everything right to win the race, and he's got nothing stopping him from doing that. But will he think in the long run, if Yuri doesn't get in and ends up costing him if he would have, say, what's he going to do? He's out of ERS completely, so there's no chance he'll get Yuri on track. There's no real chance that Iceman's going to get him either, surely? So, let's see. Jamie, well, he's keeping it calm at the moment as Jess gets overtaken, but he's just trying to hold it around the outside of Steve Arts, but nothing doing there. As Jake, he's closed in a 5.5 second gap to Gareth, and he's just going to try and be patient here as he goes around the outside. Doesn't want to have any sort of accident now. I think Gareth may well kill him if there's anything that happens, and oh, look at them fighting so hard to pull on. And through goes Jake then. The gap, 1.3 seconds at the front.
Iceman's still going wide to be Jamie.
Still going to be Yuri's race to lose, but the gap is closing for what we need. 3 seconds. It's now 2 seconds. Is Jamie going to let this happen? This is going to be very interesting indeed. If I'm Jamie, I am letting it happen, because you want to have Yuri in the players, I would say. And there's no slight against Yuri, but I think he'd want a slightly weaker driver in there. And it would just be a good story as well, wouldn't it? So, as we head in to the final chicane, Yuri is going to come round. He'll see the checker flag first. It's all up to Jamie now. Does he want the win? He's slowing it right down. And he's gonna take the victory. I think he did try and slow it down though, because Yuri was only half a second behind, but it wasn't enough. Jamie wins in Spa. Yuri second, Iceman third, Jake fourth by 0.019 seconds, so nearly got on the podium. Gareth in fifth, Estimat sixth, Jess, Casper, Jordan, Ben Spurs, MK Bourne, Leroy, and then Kieran and Jamie. Jamie a long way behind, probably has floor damage again after the incident earlier on with Tees, and he'll end up finishing last.
I wonder if Jamie will... he was definitely in two minds, wasn't he? I think he'll feel like a bit of a villain there.
I think the issue was he went for it too late if he was going for it, because Iceman would have just passed him. If he had started to block here, then he would have been able to do what he wanted to do. But at the end of the day, I suppose it was just didn't really matter to him. As long as he won the race or got whatever he wanted out of it, he, I suppose, happy enough. I'll be interested to see what he says though. Did he want to do it? Did he want to give the win away, or was he just playing us? But
Yuri will be gutted with that, definitely. Because he would have seen the gap increasing in the final sector.
He must have thought for a second that what we thought was going to happen was happening.
Yeah, but we will find out in a minute. I haven't seen anything come through yet in chat. But it is Jamie Wright with his 16th Cup Series win, his second of the season. Already in the playoffs as we head into Austria next week. The final regular season race of this still incredible season. Was it 7 winners from 9 races? It's not a bad return, is it?
And you know, the thing is as well, right? We're sitting here saying, you know, that was just to guarantee Yuri getting through. He's just finished second place in this race. He is now in the playoffs as it stands. All he has to do is hold on next week on points and he'll be fine. Because he's definitely, you know, he'll have jumped probably Jordan, I would imagine. Definitely jumped. Well, let's just see the results, but I imagine he'll be absolutely well into the top 10 anyway. Because Jordan finishes 9th, Ben Howard finishes 10th. Christian Hattar only finishes 6th place, so he'll be right up in the midst with those guys. So, you know what? Fair enough, I suppose. Jamie then wins the race. Yuri second, Iceman third, Jake fourth, Gareth, Estimance, Jess, Casper, Jordan, Ben, MK Bourne, Leroy, Kieran, and Jamie. And then the retirements, quite a lot of them this time. Tees, Corey, Connor, Pete, Risky, and OKK. So yeah, I'd say actually, to be fair, that probably is a good catalyst for Yuri to get through to the playoffs. P5 for Gareth, I'd say he's also as good as into the playoffs. And so it'll really be a fight then, I guess, between SD Match, Jordan, OKK, Ben Harrett, all to get that last playoff spot, I would have guessed. Although to be fair, the P6 today for SD Match may even be enough on its own as well. So it may be a tense one next week in Austria, but it does feel like it's all being put into place, doesn't it?
It sure does, and you know, you could end up with another new winner in Austria, so the OKK, Ben Harrett, Gareth, Estimat battle, it may not even matter. It could be an outsider like a Pete win, or who else is down there?
Corey.
A Corey win, exactly. Corey's won in Austria before, as has Yuri, so you just never know. Khalifa's won there too, he actually won a title there, just to throw that one in there. But there you go. That was Spa, Owen. That was
Spa indeed. A bit of a slow burn, just thanks to all the safety cars, but certainly one of the more unpredictable races of the season, so I hope everyone enjoyed it. And we will be